You're watching Maryland Politics here on TV Free Baltimore.
Hello, this is Paul Stefan, and this is another edition of Maryland Politics. And today we're talking to what will be the Republican slate for the House of Delegates in District 12. And they are Melanie Harris, Bob Cockey, and Michael Russell. And I'd like each one of you to introduce yourselves by letting the voters know your background and why you're running and how your past experience is going to pay off as being one of our representatives. Start with Melanie, since she's on the end.
And ladies first.
Sure. I am a longtime resident of the Arbutus area in District 12 and a lifelong Maryland resident. I have experience in event marketing. That's the majority of my career background. And I also have experience in the Maryland legislature. I worked in the General Assembly last year for a Republican state senator as chief of staff. Care about the community, want to be a bigger voice in this community. I had a baby 5 months ago, and it really changes everything when you're a parent. That's what they say, and it's true. And my son is my motivation. I'm running for him, I'm running for his future, and I'm running for the future of all the sons and daughters of the residents in District 12.
Okay, terrific. Mr. Cockey.
I'm a small businessman. I can't say that I'm retired, but I'm semi-retired. I'm entering into this political race because I'm tired of the foolishness, the no accountability for the spending where the tax dollars go. I'm upset, and I do have the time, and I've got the common sense to get involved. I've lived in this district for well over 32 years. I'm married, I have a son, 26 years old. He went through this school system in this district up into the 8th grade. He graduated from Mount St. Joe, and he went on to graduate from Towson. He's currently a volunteer firefighter.
That's great.
At the Elkridge Fire Department, and I've done things. I've umpired Little League games in the district. I've refereed basketball games. I'm not a rich person. I'm never going to be rich, but I'm going to win this seat through hard work and just common sense. It doesn't make sense to me that an athlete can make $30, $50 million a year, and our school teachers and firefighters and first responders, they're the people that are the real heroes as far as I'm concerned. And I know a lot of people down there in the House. I'm not going to name them. I consider them friends, but it doesn't mean that I have to vote with their foolishness. There has to be some accountability on where our money's going. And another thing I'm interested in is welfare fraud. I'm not saying that there's not people that need help, but I'm saying that the money that's been allocated to, quote, help them hasn't done anything to help them in 50 years, and we're going to just keep running the same programs that don't work is nonsense. And as a small businessman, I know what it's like when your car breaks down the same day you get your BGE bill. And we can't just keep printing money and making out like everything's going to fix itself tomorrow, because it's not. And I want to be a pain in their butt down there. I want to hold people accountable.
Good.
I can also be a full-time delegate. This is not going to be a part-time gig for me. So I want people to hire me, and I need their help. And I think that people are waking up, and we've seen that in some of the national elections. And I'm asking the Democrats, and I think they're waking up, that the Democratic Party has done nothing to help the people that need help. And I just want to try to create, and I know I'm only going to be a small part of this. I'd like to create a level playing field for everybody. So I don't just mean race or economic situations. I mean, in a local level, I think Lansdowne, whatever's good for Towson is good for Lansdowne. You know, the playgrounds in Lansdowne should be just as nice as they are in Towson. The schools that that they're getting ready to build in Delaney Valley could have been built. They found the money to build Delaney Valley. They could sure find money to build a new school in Lansdowne. And that's what I'm here. I'm here to make people accountable for what they do with our money.
Oh, very good. Now, Michael Russell.
I'm Mike Russell. I'm running for State Delegate in District 12. The reason I'm running, a little background about me. I served in the Maryland Army National Guard for 7 years. I was deployed once overseas in support of war on terrorism and in support of the MFO mission, Multinational Force Observers, to protect the border between Egypt and Israel. I came back and I looked at our state. I saw many problems that we were having. And being deployed down in Baltimore City during the 2015 riots, I saw those problems multiply. For me, being a leader is something more. It's calling. It's something that I aspire to every single day. And with that being said, I don't see any leaders within Annapolis. I see politicians. I don't see statesmen. And to me, that is really a big importance and a difference. Because a leader leads from the front. They are out there with their men and women. They're down in the trenches, getting stuff done daily, making sure their people are taken care of. And I don't see that down in Annapolis.
Okay.
I see people running around, getting stuff in their own self-interest done. And we need to put the people before we put ourselves.
Very good. So you're talking about the difference. So you say what you see as a statesman as opposed to a politician.
Yes.
Okay.
Jim, can I say one last thing?
Please do. You can jump in a whole time we're here.
When I first got involved in this, I didn't, my idea of a slate was something I didn't want any part of until I met these two.
Okay.
These young guys are our future. She's a smart girl. She knows her way down there.
Okay.
I'll be lost in it. I'm depending on. We have a Senate candidate, Joe Ho. Joe's run a lot of times before.
Yes, he has.
And I'm going to tell you something. It's not that Joe's a loser. Joe's a fighter, and he's back to winning again. And we gotta represent Joe. He wasn't able to be here today because he's a small businessman.
Right.
So I just want to put that out there that we're a team, and we need you to look into our backgrounds, and we need you to hire us. I mean, enough is enough with what's already down there.
Right.
So I just want to throw that in, that we are a team, and that one of our team members wasn't able to be here today.
Well, part of that is we do hope to get Joe here
Sure.
separately and do an interview with
Okay.
him. And the point I try to make is that even though in the last election he lost, but he had the highest number of votes of
Yeah.
any Republican candidate.
Pete Melcavich is also, even though he's on our slate for the first district in Baltimore County, and we like Pete a lot. We think he's a team player, and he's in it for one reason, to help his community. I think he lives in this area, if I'm not mistaken,
I don't
as
know.
well. Doesn't
He
he?
lives in Lansdowne.
Oh, he does.
And,
Terrific.
and Joe Ho does too, doesn't he, Mike?
Yes,
Joe
he
Ho's
does.
business right down the road.
Yeah. So you've got two of our team members are right here local for you. I mean, if the voters in the 12th district that live in this lower part, if they want to continue to have people represent them out in Columbia and have all the money head out there, all the representation coming from their Howard County districts, well, don't cry when you don't have a new school 5 years from now. You just didn't put the right people in office.
Good point, because I've always been upset by seeing these people from the Howard County part of the district get elected, and if you live in this area as you have, and for a long period of time, this part of Baltimore County has always gotten the short end of the stick. Always.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Sicily. You're down there in the boot, and you know what they did. They
Right.
formed a little team,
Yeah.
and
I think we hear a lot of disappointment also from neighbors and from community residents that their voices aren't being heard. So it's not just our perspective that matters in this, obviously. The residents actually do feel ignored. And they're starting to speak up now.
Good.
And so because they're starting to speak up now, and it's an election year, the people who are currently seated are saying, oh, let's do something about this. It's a little too late. Obviously, our interest isn't simply winning. Our interest is everyone winning. So if things do get done for a positive direction in our district, that's a win for us as well. But when we're elected, they won't be ignored for 4 years like they have been. It's not just going to be an election year promise or an election year effort. It's going to be an ongoing effort. We're hard workers, You know, we come from a variety of backgrounds, but we're all hard workers. And I know that I'm the kind of person who, when I commit to something, I go all in. You know, I have a baby. What am I thinking? It's very unpopular to be a candidate with a new baby. Usually people wait till their children are school age and there's some self-sufficiency and some more time, I guess. So I'm in overtime. You know, Bob's saying he's a full-time candidate. Yes, having a baby is also a full-time job, so I'm in overtime at the moment.
It's also the most important job in the world, being a mom.
No complaints.
Now, but would you say that you really, because of the way things are in the state, in the county, and in this district, you can't wait for your child to get into the school system because 4 years from now, it's going to be a little late to get things started?
That's exactly how I feel. I could wait until the next election, for example, and say, all right, now's my time. But no, now's my time. Now when my baby is a baby, you know, when I have time to make education policy that will positively affect his future, now's when I want to get in. I don't want to wait until whoever, you know, the people in here now who are ignoring our area are in office, for example, and just rely on them and say, all right, you know, we haven't really seen them in 4 years, but I just trust that when my baby's ready for school, everything will be okay. No, now's my time to run and make a difference and listen to our community and to get in.
And if I may interject, it's not just Baltimore County side. We've been hearing this from all over the district.
Okay.
You have in Howard County the APFO situation that has fallen on deaf ears with the Democrats.
Now, will you explain that to the audience? What is
APFO? So APFO is Adequate Public Facilities Ordinance, and that basically means it makes sure that the roads, the sewage, the electrical, the plumbing, everything that is needed to have an infrastructure to support a school, to support a community, is there and foundation. And Howard County's APFO was just changed by the county council.
Oh, okay.
And a bill went before the state to make sure that it's an enabling legislation. It enables the county council to go forward and change the APFO even more. And that's what the state would vote on. However, from what I've been hearing from many people is it's falling on deaf ears. This is a crisis when you have Howard County schools, some of the best blue ribbon schools in the state, being over capacity of 150%. That's ridiculous. We cannot do these to the students within the school. I grew up with a learning disability, ADHD and CAPD. CAPD stands for Central Auditory Processing Disorder. And in public schools here in Maryland, where I grew up, to get one-on-one time with a teacher was hard enough back in the 90s. Now it's practically impossible. And we're not giving those teachers what they need to teach. We're letting them just be filled with classrooms and not getting that one-on-one time with those students that so desperately need this.
Well, good.
And that's something that we're advocating about and we're trying to be the voice of, because we're not just here for Republicans, we're not just here for independents, we're not just here for Democrats, we're here for everybody. We're fighting for everybody, because that's what it means to be a leader, and that's what it means to be a politician and a statesman. And it should be that way, and it's not that way with the Democrats currently.
Because I was going to say, I'm glad to hear you say what you said about Howard County, because when we see, this is the first time I'm interviewing 3 people, and they're all from this part of the district. I can see people in Howard County now switching, and let's say, what about us?
Right.
They're going to look at their part of the Baltimore County only, you know? But
I don't believe that's true at all. One thing that I'm really excited about is that we do have parents in this district that are being that loud voice. There's a lot that's come out. I'm sure you know about the Project Baltimore, to see what's going on in the city schools. And obviously, as state legislators, we would be able to make policy that would affect city schools. But one of the very disappointing things that they're saying is, you know, I saw something today. They have students coming in that haven't seen a parent in days.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very upsetting, and we are so lucky to have parents in this district that are raising their voices and saying, you know, don't forget about our students. And it's a shame that it had to come to that. So absolutely not. No, we won't be overlooking Howard County just because we live in Baltimore County. I spend a lot of time in Howard County. There's so many activities for my baby and for children in general, and it's a really family-friendly area. No, I do not ignore Howard County at all.
Mike,
Neither
you have
of
a
us
thought
do.
real quick?
Yeah, the great thing about this team is we're not going to ignore Howard County. But another thing is I grew up in Howard County.
Oh, okay.
I grew up actually within the district in Columbia. My stepfather's David Carney owns his own business down there, Carney Callahan Law Firm. We were a part of the community, and I still feel I am a part of that community. I have friends and family down there, and I care deeply what happens in Howard County because I did grow up there, and that means a lot to me.
Now, here's another thing to think of. I know, in this district, I think it's been traditionally Democratic delegates to say, that's an uphill battle for the three of you.
Absolutely.
How do you plan, what's your battle plan or your victory plan? How are you going to make people say, hey, no, not these guys, not same old us? Do you have any thoughts on that? Any of you?
Sure, it starts on the grassroots level. It isn't just sending mailers. I'm sure we'll be doing that too. It's actually getting out there and having FaceTime with the residents. When they get to meet us, when they get to see that we're genuine, that we're not just some partisan people here to take your vote, to take an endorsement, to get that little scratch on the back from these big unions, and then, once we're in there, say, all right, where's our scratch on the back? No, that's not what we're about. We're
Right.
here for the people. We, when these current delegates announce that they're having the little switcheroo, that the one guy's running for Senate, and then the other two are looking for somebody to kind of welcome into their team, and the way they presented it was, we have your replacement for you, voters. No. It's an election year.
Well put, man.
Their own party knows that they're fragile. That's why there's 8 people running for the 3 seats.
Wow.
Yeah. So when they meet us, when they have that opportunity, which we're going to give them that opportunity plenty to be out in the community and to have that FaceTime, I think that's how they'll know. Again, the grassroots approach. We are not bigger than anything. We're there. We're all equal. We're here to serve you. That's what public service is. It's leadership, but it's also public service. And we're here to be your public servant. We know what that means. He served the community. I've served in Annapolis as well for my former boss. We understand public service, and we know that it's not about the power, it's about the people.
Great. Okay, now what I want to get into, because we have about 20 minutes left, is what do you all say, individually or what have you, as the big issues for District 12?
Well, I think we need to slow the growth down a little bit until we can get the schools and the rest of the infrastructure prepared for it, or we're going to be one big traffic jam. One of the ways I think that we're going to compete with the Democrats that are, the incumbents, is we're going to outwork them, first of all. They feel pretty cushy in there, like they're unbeatable. Because of the numbers, they're going to raise a lot more money than us. So that leaves us one option, Jim, and that's to outwork them, which we will. I would like to think that my business experience, and most of it was in Baltimore City, I really care for Baltimore City. They're our neighbors. I have a lot of friends down there. Talking about education and things, and I don't want to get off the track, but when I earlier said I want a level playing field, and whether that kid's in Lansdowne or down there on Lombard Street in MLK, if those kids don't get a level playing field and a good start, and that means from the minute they wake up and they have a decent breakfast, or a parent like Melanie referred to, they haven't seen their parents in days, until they've got a parent home that can help them with their homework. It might not seem that important to a lot of people that don't really look at the issues, but let's face it, that's a major reason for crime. I mean, uneducated people that have nowhere else to turn. I'm not saying that that's an excuse for them to commit crime, but until we give everybody the same opportunity, all these tax dollars that were given to us by the federal and from our state taxes, none of it was really generated or used. And I actually did a workforce development with Baltimore City Department of Social Service, and I was able to get a close-up view of what the mentality is of the people operating the programs. that money, we just flushed it down the toilet. You know, we don't want to keep people on welfare. We want to help them get jobs. I think it's in their DNA that they want to go out and provide for their family. But when they wake up, you know, in the situations they are down there, I like to be the guy that drives that bulldozer and just bulldozes down all those Perkins homes and Murphy homes down there. We've got over 16,000 vacant homes in Baltimore City.
Right.
10,000 of them are in a condition where they can be rehabbed. That Locust Point project, and I don't want to get off the track because I will.
All right, but two things. Let me just say two things that you brought up there about infrastructure and empty houses. There is a big problem in this district of a lot of empty houses.
There is.
And we've had on our second stream, there was a study done nationally talking about tax base. And there have been people, they said, Baltimore City's lost a lot of people. They've come to Baltimore County, but, you know, the tax revenue has gone down because the people moving from the city are the lower income people who may not be working, who may be underemployed, and that is also bringing down the quality of life here in the county and in this district, because our district, even in my house, I'm almost on the border of Baltimore City.
I know. You know, I'm going to give Mike, I see Mike wants to say something.
We'll get him in there.
When you pay your teachers what they deserve, and they become your heroes, not some football player, when you can bring first responders and teachers into this area, into this neighborhood, you know, your houses are more affordable here than they are, say, in Glenelg or
Yes,
Clarksville.
of course.
So they're your first-time home buyers. When you create programs for first-time home buyers and you pay these teachers and these first responders what they deserve, now you've created a resident that's here forever. Now they plant their roots. Now you've got better schools, you've got better citizens, you got people getting involved in your neighborhood or community associations. You're going to have to win the war just like we're going to do it. One community center at a time, one show like this at a time. You're just going to have to work hard and have your people go out and vote for the right people, and you're just going to have to take back these empty houses. Are probably better constructed than a lot of new houses they build. So, I mean, Lansdowne, to me, if somebody says Lansdowne, look, I live in Arbutus, Halethorpe area. To me, you know what it says? It goes, that's a blue-collar, all-American town. I mean, that's, you know, I don't live in Cockeysville.
Understand Mike once again. Yeah, let's hear what he has to say about some of this.
Well, two things. I feel, and I think I can speak for the three of us, when we feel about jobs and job opportunities, it is the job of a political leader, and I said leader for a reason, to bring the community, jobs, and businesses together. If you want a job, it is the priority of our administration, of our leadership, to find you a job, to bring those businesses into your area, and to make sure you have a job. That is key element to building a community, and that is what we need to do with here in Baltimore County. We need to build that up in Lansdowne, Arbutus, Halethorpe. We need to build that up down in Baltimore Highlands as well. Another thing to point out, I think that's going to be brought up within the race, is healthcare. Specifically the opioid epidemic.
All right.
I personally feel that, you know, addiction is not something that somebody can help. It's a disease. It's not a crime. And to that effort, we need to provide those resources for those addicted. Now, not to say we don't go after the criminals who are peddling this stuff within our city. We need to have harsher sentences for these people, and we need to make sure we get them off the street and there's no longer able to peddle drugs within our community. But when it comes to addiction, we need to treat it like what it is. It is a disease, and we need to provide those resources to those people and make sure they have the continuing support they need to overcome this disease.
All right, now the important thing is, again, what we try to emphasize on our shows, and we want people who are here as candidates to talk about the issues, not only are local issues, but local to the point of how do the issues affect them personally. So how do these issues affect you all personally? Melanie first.
Sure. So just to go back to what are important issues in District 12, yes, absolutely. They're the same things that affect everything else in our state. drug use. I wish it was as simple as, going to the city to buy drugs. That maybe was what it was 20 years ago. Now you can go anywhere and buy drugs. I attended an opiate discussion last night hosted by a Republican club, a woman who hosts an organization who unfortunately lost her son at a young age due to this epidemic, and it all began because he was an athlete with a sports injury who got hooked on pills. And it is so common and so upsetting, and we need to find something to do about that. So yes, that affects our community, that affects Maryland. That's one of the things that I'm going to try and make a difference with when I get into the House. How it affects me personally is in 2016, I lost one of my closest friends to the epidemic. I have a bunch of opinions about the drug wars. I also, addiction is a disease. Once you get hooked on something, there needs to be an intervention. There needs to be a plan of how we're going to help people. It's not, let's prosecute this person, because that doesn't get them, that doesn't stop the addiction. That doesn't help them. That doesn't get them, into a better place in their life. Yes, and economics is something that it's the economy of this part of our district needs a plan, needs to be improved, because like I said, we're lucky because we have parents in this district who care. We have parents who want opportunities for their students. They want better facilities for their students. We want to be there to support these parents, to support these residents, and to help them build this community. And how are we going to do that? We're going to do that with job opportunities. We're going to do that with, the houses won't be vacant when there's jobs here. There's jobs here, people move here, they fill the homes, the housing economy booms. That's how this area gets built up. Everything's built around the housing economy. Of course, property taxes fund the schools. Once we have more of these homes filled, then we'll have more taxes, we'll have more resources available to help with some of the issues with, obviously, the Lansdowne High School. There's a lot of concern about it. It needs a lot of help. It's not motivating when you're in a sweltering classroom in the summer. There's no air conditioning units. There's no long-term solution. They have the Band-Aid. They have, okay, so we're going to give some renovation money. That's not a good investment, because you're going to have to turn around again and spend more money once
I agree.
That shows to be not sustainable.
Tear it down.
Well, the point to bring in there, a couple things I have on, is the knowing that, it was a county executive who I think,
Oh, yeah.
he was, Delaney, of course, was his pet. And if we had to choose between Delaney and Lansdowne, and also whoever he was pressured by in the Towson area,
That's
which
where
was
the
a
votes
part of
come
the county,
from.
right, to say, we want to do something for Delaney.
This disproportionate funding is so common and so transparent and such a political move. I mean, there's been controversy over the signs that he just put up for the Schools for Our Future. That is a 6-year-old plan, but now in an election year, he's taking school funds to put up these signs around all the schools. It's just, everything is his pet. This is not. We're entering politics to change the game, to be actual leaders. We're not, entering politics to be just another politician who, once we're in there, again, we get our scratch on the back and we go about our way and we forget the people that we're serving. Absolutely not. We're here to make an actual difference.
Another thing that's been recently in the media, is in the county here, they talked about the budget specifically, talked about, surplus versus a deficit and how things aren't balancing. And for the next administration, whoever the next county executive is going to have something dropped in his or her lap, that taxes may have to be raised for the first time in 20 or 30 years in Baltimore County.
We'll see. I mean, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
We're going to go down the line, Mike. You're the younger, so I agree with Melanie. With the Lansdowne High School, that's a Band-Aid.
And so, as we started with Melanie, let's finish with Melanie with a final few words from you.
Okay. I'm Melanie Harris. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm nobody special. I'm just like the people in my community. I'm getting married this year. I'm running now because I feel like it's the right time. Maybe it's an inconvenient time while I'm planning a wedding and raising a baby.
I'm doing her hair and makeup.
But I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in what we're here to do. I believe in this community, and I want to be here to help it with positive change. And I know that I'm capable of doing that. I know that my experience in Annapolis, I know that my background, I know that my personality and my values, my Republican values, absolutely, but I don't judge myself based on one word, Melanie the Republican. That's not who I am. I'm Melanie the neighbor. I am Melanie the mother. I'm Melanie the vegetarian. I am more than one thing wrapped up into Melanie Harris. And I'm doing it for the right reasons. So again, do your homework, and I look forward to meeting you.
Great. I want to thank you all for coming today, and it's been great having you here. And I want folks out there to know something that Melanie said is very important. Not just to vote, as Bob said, but be an informed voter. So please, look into these folks, follow with what they're doing between now and the general election, because they are running unopposed in the primary on the Republican ticket as delegates of District 12. And so we have to stop, and I thank you for watching, and tune in next time for Maryland Politics. Good night.
You're watching Maryland Politics here on TV Free Baltimore.